Alright, this is company habit number 2. If you are under the age of 14, you probably shouldn't be watching this video. My name is James Williams Jr. Let us begin. So earlier today on Facebook, I replied to a young fella. I think his name was Alfonso Hernandez or something. Whoever you are, first off, let me apologize for getting your name wrong. Now, the subject at hand that I'm about to talk about is not for the faint at heart. If you have nightmares very easily, then this video is probably not for you, but you probably can take it as a learning tool. And if you don't have nightmares, then this probably is the place for you, so that when you do. The thing about dreams, the thing that most of us don't seem to understand, is that you can control your dreams. The fact that Dreamwalkers have no boundary of what ethnicity that they are born into. I know what you're thinking. James, you read too many comic books. Well, I have never read a comic book about a Dreamwalker, but I might have seen an episode or two of G.I. Joe with a Dreamwalker or a person with ESP or whatever kind of psychic phenomenon you want to call it. But I will say that Dreamwalkers do exist. When I was but a boy, I had the ability to pick up dreams right where I left off. Sometimes the very next day, sometimes the same day, sometimes 2 or 3 weeks later I could pick up from where I left off. Now, maybe it was just my desire to see how the dream ends, or maybe I have some gifts that I have not yet explored. No, I don't do drugs. So it probably makes it a little bit harder for you to believe because I don't do drugs. Alright? I'm like the most drug-free guy that I know. I won't even use aspirin if I can help it. So I had to be in pretty bad shape like I was last Saturday to use aspirin. And if I had to use aspirin, I only use 2 kinds. Advil and Motrin. Which, if they sponsored me, I'd have a job. Anyway, so Mr. Hernandez, or Mr. Fernando, I can't remember what your name is, so subject matter at hand is simply this. He said he doesn't get to sleep much because all of his dreams are nightmares. So I'm going to tell you this story. You guys can take it any way you want. You're probably all going to think I'm full of bullshit. So I'm going to tell you anyway, because what you consider bullshit is my truth. A very long time ago, when I was but a boy, my uncle was plagued by the witch rider. And because we are partially Native American, a lot of people say that the Native American culture is more spiritual and more subject to things that are beyond most human understandings. I give them that because, this story is kind of beyond the normal human understanding. So, when he first told me about it, I was 7 years old. I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed until that motherfucking witch rider started getting me. Right? Now, mind you, this bitch came after me from the age of 7 to the age of 15. So, there's some shit behind this motherfucker. Now, as time went on, it plagued other members of my family. It plagued my father. I laughed at his ass. It plagued other members of the family. I laughed at them. But it had a special place in its heart for me. And it continued to attack me over and over and over. And it never fucking stopped. So, one night, after it attacked my father, I laughed at my father. And I had been watching Magnum P.I. So, thank you, Tom Selleck. Because you may not know this, but your episode of Magnum P.I. when you were surrounded by the shark is what saved my life from this creature in the dark. So I watched Magnum P.I. and he counted to 3 and made the shark disappear. So I thought about that. My dad woke me up at about 4 or 5, one of the 30s. And here I am, 15 years old, and we're living in this old creepy ass house. So you have those old timey locks that you have to be like He-Man to lock it, and you have to lock it from the inside. You have to lock it with a fucking key, except for the deadbolts, which was the only thing that was modern. So one of the deadbolts, he had two deadbolts. One of them was like a safe type deadbolt. I can't really describe it, and I don't have a picture to show you, but the motherfucker was complicated. And then we had a normal deadbolt. So on both doors, he helped me lock up the back door, and then he made me lock the front door after I hooked the screen door. Then I locked them out and turned the key, and I went back to sleep. Now our windows were nailed shut because they had a hard winter down in Smithville, or my dad just didn't want the windows open. Whatever the excuse was, the windows was fucking shut, and they had trash bags down them, not the dark kind, but the plastic, the white leaf type bags. So on all the windows except for the one that had the air conditioning in it, all that was there to, I guess, keep the cool air in. I don't really fucking know. Central air wasn't in existence at that time, and if it was, we black. So that should answer that right there. No, that got totally off the story. But anyway, so I know he's locked out the house because I personally locked him out the house. But I remember I had made fun of him. So I laid down, I went to sleep. I got to sleeping pretty damn good, you know. And this grip came around my neck like a vice grip. And I couldn't get free. So, assuming it was my dad at first, I said, okay, Dad, you made your point. I'm sorry for laughing at you. I apologize. By the time I said that, the grip got tighter. So it didn't take long for me to realize this was not my fucking dad. This thing was out for my blood. It was trying to hurt me really fucking badly. So then I thought about Magnum P.I. And I said, I'm going to catch this damn thing. Now the only person that can hear me is me, because I'm the only one in the house. And I said, I'm going to catch you. This is the last time you're ever going to touch me. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to prove to the world that you fucking exist. And when I do, everything will change for everything that comes through the spiritual veil. Because once you prove something exists, then the world knows that it exists. So, I pulled the Magnum P.I. I'm going to count to 3. And I'm going to catch you in this cover. And I had like probably the biggest sheet in the world. Sheet, blanket, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It was on me. I was wrapped up pretty good in it. And I touched the Witch Rider. Because I counted. I said 1. And I skipped 2 and jumped to 3. And I wrapped the cover around us both. And I couldn't grab it long enough. But I got a hold of it. And I held it. But when I tried to find it in the covers to reveal it, it was gone. So, we do have powers to fight spirits. The problem is, most of us don't believe that we have the ability to confront something supernatural. So I will tell you this. As it disappeared, I swore on my life, on my family, that if it is out there, I will catch it. And I will make sure that everyone knows that it exists. Now, here's where the fun starts. I haven't caught it. But on a safer note, I can sleep safely in the dark now and know that it won't come back because I touched it. And if I can touch it, I can kill it. How do you kill something that's already dead? That's the hard part. But see, it knows that if I can touch it, all I gotta do is catch it. And all I have to do is prove to the world that it does exist. I know you guys seen the movie Usual Suspects, and if you haven't, then I will quote the best line ever said in the movie. The only thing the devil ever had to do was prove to mankind that he did not exist, and he will have full reign over the world. Look at the chaos we're in. So you don't believe in the supernatural. You don't believe in the things I just told you. That's fine. You're entitled to that. I have no right to change your opinion, and I'm not going to. But I will tell you this. For all you doctors and scientists out here saying the Witch Rider is blood paralysis. You're a doctor. So you know pretty much that if your blood stops for a nanosecond, like stops pumping, period, you're probably going to be dead. Your blood moves at yay so much a second through your bloodstream, and it has to keep moving When you have a heart attack, it means your heart has stopped pumping blood, which means you're dying or you're already dead. So blood paralysis cannot be real for the simple fact that if your blood stops pumping for more than a fucking minute, you're done. I've done some research on your blood stopping. You know, most of the time your heart has to be pumping. Your heart won't stop pumping until you die. Even when you're brain dead, your heart will keep pumping. So that's how you still have vital signs, even though you're brain dead. Now, for this to happen, you also have thousands of electrons and neutrons flying through your body at the same time at yay so much voltage a minute, which is why you can have static shock. So that's why you can do one of these numbers and stand on a rug and zap the shit out of somebody because you have electric current flowing through your body. Which is why when they rub that damn defibrillator and pump it on your chest, it jumpstarts your heart. So for all the doctors who are blood paralysis experts, go fuck yourself. There's no such thing as blood paralysis because if you ever meet someone who's paraplegic, who is like in complete paralysis from the neck down, their heart's still pumping. Paralysis means you cannot move at all. And if your blood stops pumping, your dumb ass is dead. So blood paralysis, witch rider, 1000%. And on this video, I'm probably going to get so many fuck you James and all that. And that's cool because you know what? I know the truth. If I can touch it, I can catch it. And if I can catch it, all I got to do is be able to keep it. And if I can prove that it exists, then it will change the world. I'm probably going to die before that happens. But I will tell you this. I've seen some shit. So I know the supernatural does exist. Now, for you people who don't know about the supernatural and spiritual veils and stuff like that, you live in a world where there is a spiritual veil. And if you choose to follow the spiritual veil, you know, there's a whole lot more to the spiritual veil than you know. You know, the one thing about the spiritual realm is that most people don't believe in the spiritual realm, yet they believe in God. Most people don't believe in the spiritual realm, yet they don't want to take the chance of saying, what if this shit is real? What if this veil can be crossed? But see, the thing is, no normal person has crossed the veil. And most of the people that have crossed and have come back, we chalk up as guys are on drugs, or you're stupid, or you're some kind of false prophet, or whatever the hell it is you want to call a person who has crossed the spiritual veil. And the thing is, the spiritual veil does exist. How do we control it? How do we manifest it? How do we get you enter the spiritual veil and come back safely? I'm not an expert for that, but I will tell you this. Now I quote Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. When you eliminate the possible and all that is left is the impossible, then what is left is the truth. So knowing that, you know, you have to think to yourself, what if Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was right on the fucking money? What if he was right on the money? And if he was, what does that mean for the rest of us? What does that mean about my witch rider theory? What does that mean about all the people who have had these spiritual connections with spirits and haven't been able to find answers or solutions to their problems? So, what do? What do we do? So the answer to the guy who I responded to about the nightmares on Facebook, the answer is simple. It's more than one answer, But my answer would be, if you are part Native American and if you have any connection to any tribe whatsoever, first go see a shaman or a witch doctor because they can help you a hell of a lot better than I can. As a guy who had to help myself, you know, I'm not afraid of the witch rider. I think fear feeds spirits. I think fear feeds your nightmares. And until you can conquer them, you will always be plagued by them. So here's my tip to you: find a still point in your dreams and race toward it. Find your dream self so that you and your dream self can combine and conquer the dream world and the realms. Because the dream world is just a thin line between that veil and the spiritual veil. And most of the time, we are most free when we dream. Because when we dream, we're almost invincible. We can fly, we can walk through walls, we can float. There are so many things you can do in your dreams that you can't do in real life because we don't believe that we have the power to achieve that stuff. But in your dreams, nothing is impossible. So try to remember that when you go to sleep. You start having a nightmare, try to remember the last thing you did before you close your eyes. Because that was my trick. Remember the last thing you did and the last place you were when you close your eyes. If you can find that continuity in your brain while you are sleeping, you're halfway there. When I go to sleep, that's the first thing I do. That's the last thing I did before I went to sleep. I was watching the ID channel. Or was I watching porn? So I was watching one of them, and knowing that is how you can control your dreams. You have to be conscious aware that you have gone to sleep. This isn't that Leonardo DiCaprio movie. This is real life. You have to be aware that you have gone to sleep. Because the one thing I did learn in the Army that has stayed with me, and I thank you for this, my Delta brother Dunn, he said, you never know when you've fallen asleep. You only know that you've waken up. That is 100% true. You don't know when you fall asleep. You just know you've waken up. So, when you fall asleep, remember the thing you did before you fell asleep. The very last thing. And your synaptics should come right back to you. Like nothing. I'm James Williams Jr. Just come for number 2. Part 2 is coming.